With no further ado, it is my pleasure and honor to introduce our Senator, State Senator.
Was way too kind, Mayor Halliday. Thank you for the introduction, and thank you, Vice President for Student Services, Matt Krishna, at Chabot College. Welcome to Chabot, the home of the gladiators, as I understand. Tonight, I will update you on a variety of actions that the state has taken and issues that I think are important. And we'll recognize and honor some of the unsung heroes in our community throughout the 10th Senate District that are doing such a great job. And I always love this part of the year when we get to learn about the contributions that these folks are making. Now, this is the second time in 3 years that we've held this event in Hayward, which is the heart of the Bay. 2 years ago, we were up on the hill at Cal State East Bay, and tonight we're with the gladiators of Chabot. The students of Chabot have, they're expanding their education, learning specific skills, and increasing the opportunities that they have to begin their careers and advance their careers. My wife is here. I forgot. My wife, Sue Lemke. I'd like to acknowledge my wife, Sue Lemke. She's in education for all she's the program manager for the Fremont Unified School District. So she handles all the math and science programs. So if you want to know about next generation science standards, she'll be here after. So as the mayor said, I'm a member of the Senate Budget and Fiscal Review Committee, and we have been expanding opportunities in keeping California fiscally sound, or keeping California fiscally sound are two of my top priorities. We expand opportunities for people by investing in education, investing in childcare, and investing in CalWorks. We're putting people to work repairing our infrastructure and funding projects that put the best scientific minds to work addressing the challenges of climate change. Now, the state budget we approved this year provides the highest investment in California history for K through 14. It increases Prop 98 funding for community colleges by $500 million compared to the year before, and the allocation of $150 million for the California Community Colleges Strong Workforce Program that partners with K through 12 and the private sector is designed to give students career technical training. We've sort of forgotten about career technical training, but we're back on board. The budget expands access to child care and other family programs and also increases CalWorks funding. We're creating jobs by directing an additional $5 billion per year into repairing our roads, repairing our highways, repairing our bridges, and our public transportation. There are more than 6,000 transportation improvement projects underway across the state that are fixing potholes, easing traffic congestion, and upgrading bridges and overpasses. This includes $715 million right here in Alameda County over the course of Senate Bill 1 in the next decade. We need to continue the Fix It First program. At a time when so many people cannot afford access to the courts, we approved $20 million in civil legal aid and increased the funding for our courts' self-help centers. Often, this is the first stop that low-income people have. This is an issue that I've long championed. I also secured approximately $500,000 to have the Office of Environmental Health and Hazard Assessments study the effect of food dyes on children. Many of our low-income children just get too much of the food dyes. The children's health organizations have called for more research and determine how these food dyes affect our children. Perhaps seeing the writing on the wall, some companies have already taken steps to remove the unnecessary dyes from their products. This study will help the state of California make more informed decisions on what children should be eating and drinking. And although I could not get it done in this year's budget, for those of you who like hiking and exploring our natural history, I'm working with the city of Fremont to provide a pedestrian overpass at I-680 for the Saber Cat Creek Trail. This trail runs through a former archaeological dig site where thousands of fossil specimens have been collected, including the saber-toothed cat, wolves, and cave bears. We're also working with building a state-of-the-art museum to house the Irvingtonian fossils. More to come next year. Californians have demanded a state budget reserve and a rainy day fund, and we have met those demands by prudently preparing for an economic slowdown with record-breaking financial reserves. Now, we face many challenges, but climate change and income inequality are two of the defining issues of our time. This is true not just in California, not just in the United States, but in nations across the globe. So I'm the chair of the Budget Subcommittee too, and as the mayor said, I have oversight over resources, over environmental protection, over energy, and over transportation. And I also chair the Senate Environmental Quality Committee. So I have that unique role of reviewing the climate change legislation and the cap and trade expenditures that go with that legislation as we try to shepherd the state's budget and our programs effectively. This year, these committees took action that sustains California's global leadership role in mitigating greenhouse gas emissions and adapting to the effects of climate change, such as sea level rise, warmer temperatures, year-round wildfires, and reduce moisture in our agricultural fields and in our forests. Reducing transportation-related greenhouse gases is a key part to the climate change strategy, and this budget includes $135 million to accelerate investments in the statewide network of zero-emission vehicle infrastructure. Now, people want more charging stations and the security that comes with having more charging stations. Our goal is to provide $800 million for ZEV infrastructure through the year 2025. We have currently 35 hydrogen stations in the state and more than 17,000 charging plugs. And California is by far the national leader in ZEV sales. We're moving forward with the BART expansion deeper into Santa Clara County to hopefully take more cars off the road. Now, while I would have loved to be here and be excited about the operation of 2 new BART stations in my Senate district, I'll continue to look forward to the opening of 2 new grand opening BARTs in Milpitas and the Berryessa station. In our lifetime, we're going to see BART go down to Santa Clara, loop around from San Jose, and students are going to be able to go to San Jose State, which is going to be a game changer for the community. It's a tremendous benefit for our region. Also, improving connectivity of our transportation network is vital to improving a commuter's experience. And that's why I successfully pushed for $5 million to fund the Metropolitan Transportation Commission feasibility study of a Fremont transfer station at Shin, linking BART with the Altamont Commuter Express and the Capitol Corridor. It will save commuters valuable time and expand their traveling options. Now, I'm also advancing, or not me, we, the state of California, are advancing the low-carbon transportation projects. These include clean vehicle rebates that we've put some more money into, clean trucks, and very importantly, the modernization of our school bus fleets. These kids are, young lungs are exposed to pollutants, and it's just one of these things that there's no reason for that to remain. To address the threat of more wildfires, we are spending close to $1 billion on fire prevention over 5 years. We're going to be removing dead trees and doing more prescribed burns to reduce the fuel that contributes to these horrific fires. We are purchasing new CAL FIRE helicopters and getting rid of the older ones. We got these helicopters from the Army after the Vietnam War. So we got them for free, we've had them, and these new helicopters are, it's like Black Hawk Down or whatever, they're going to be able to fly during the night. And that's, our firefighters, when nighttime comes, they have to stop with the air portion of it. So it's going to be a more aggressive stance. Another significant problem that we have with climate change is sea level rise. Now, I was able to secure $20 million in this first year of funding with the Prop 68 bond funds for wetland restoration in the San Francisco Bay. We all know our bay's a wonderful natural resources, and sea level rise threatens to flood much of our shoreline if we do not do something to adapt to this phenomena. At the Governor's Global Climate Action Summit in San Francisco, I spoke about several innovative climate adaptation projects to improve air quality, cut the emissions used to move, treat, and deliver water, and to construct climate-smart buildings. One organization is Resilience by Design. This is a regional call to action, bringing together residents, community organizations, and national and international experts to develop solutions to strengthen our region's resiliency to sea level rise. The projects now have designers, engineers, scientists, and other experts behind them, and the next step is to find funding streams to implement the most effective projects on sea level rise in the Bay Area. We have to do it together. We can't just have my city first and everybody else wait. The summit was a great success. We had a dialogue with representatives from around the world, exchanging ideas and expanding partnerships that demonstrate our collective resolve to fight climate change and to move forward in the clear absence of any cooperation or leadership out of Washington. Its purpose was to increase our united ambition to meet the climate goals set by the Paris Accord in 2015. Just as I did in Paris and last year in Bonn, Germany, I look forward to telling California's story on panels at the United Nations Climate Conference in Poland this December. Much of the world is looking at California's leadership, and we did not let them down in San Francisco, and I do not expect to let them down in Poland. One of the biggest local projects on climate adaptation is the South San Francisco Bay Shoreline Project, headed by the Santa Clara Valley Water District. And this is a $177 million project. Most of it is federal money, but it provides flood protections for thousands of South Bay residents and some of the biggest businesses in the whole Silicon Valley, and that drive our economy. Plus it protects 3 crucial wastewater treatment plants. The Shoreline Project includes 4 miles of levees, marsh restoration, and the extension of the Bay Trail. That is the Bill Lockyer Bay Trail. So it will connect Dixon Landing Road with El Viso, and you'll be able to go around the South Bay. So this bill, SB 881, is the last piece of this financial puzzle. It authorizes the Shoreline Project to receive state flood control subvention funds to go along with the federal and local funds that have already been secured by the project, and the governor signed the bill last Friday. Unfortunately, in the final days of the session, the Assembly missed 2 opportunities to pass progressive environmental legislation that I authored with broad support from environmental justice groups and a coalition of recycling advocates. So the first bill was Senate Bill 64. It came just 1 vote short of passing the Assembly. It would have directed state agencies to create a plan to reduce emissions from fossil fuel power plants, especially those in disadvantaged communities. You know, as we transition to a greener electrical grid, we need more data on the amount of emissions that occur when these plants start up and then go through their cycling process. You see, when solar energy is available during the day, the gas fire plants cycle down. When the sun sets, they cycle up. But they weren't designed that way. They weren't built to cycle up, cycle down. And when they do this, they emit more pollution and when they're stopping and going. So this bill was designed to measure the emissions, and it was strongly supported by the Union of Concerned Scientists, the Asian Pacific Environmental Network, and the California Environmental Justice Committee. We'll be back. Also, the Senate refused to support Senate Bill 168. Now, which would have been for the first time in California history, we would have created minimum content standards on recycled products for plastic, all of this little thing. It would have been 20% minimum content. Some of you may have caught the news hour last night on PBS. They're doing a series this whole week on plastic pollution and what's it doing to our shores and that big glob out in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. The Chinese are no longer buying our plastic and our paper products. We have a serious recycling crisis that needs to be addressed. So this bill would have diverted some of the 24 billion beverage containers purchased in California from going to the landfills, and it would have provided manufacturing and processing jobs for this used plastic right here in our state. Now, I have been invited by the Norwegians to go, before I go to Poland, to visit their world-class recycling center. They saw the bill, they thought that this was the right thing, so I'll bring back the information from the Norwegians and try again in 2019. I appreciate the support that I received from environmentalists and many in the recycling industry on the project, including Supervisor Richard Valle, who's the president and CEO of TriSaid Recycling, and Anu Natarajan, and all the good people at StopWaste.org. Those of you who have followed my work on the Senate Judiciary Committee know I'm a strong supporter in consumer protection. This year, in addition to voting for the net neutrality bill, SB 822, the Internet Privacy Protections, I authored Senate Bill 954, which Governor Brown did sign, and requires lawyers to inform their clients about the confidentiality restrictions before deciding to pursue mediation. See, these restrictions prevent clients from suing their lawyers for bad behavior during mediation. Nothing can be said about mediation. The bill simply said, inform the client, have them know about the restrictions before they go forward in mediation. To help the public and the press perform their watchdog role over a government agency, Governor Brown signed another one of my bills, SB 1244, that improves transparency by removing removing the legal threat against people who request government records. So this was the deal. A constituent of mine sought a request of information from her school district. The district finally responded, but gave her some of the information that they realized later was privileged. So they sued her to get the information back, which they did. Then they sued her again for $500,000 in attorney's fees from the woman. Now imagine that. Imagine that. You get hit with a $500,000 fee for making a public request for information about your school district. So this bill sets the matter straight and says that the government is forbidden from collecting attorney fees from public records requesters unless it's a frivolous lawsuit. So the governor has another bill, which he recently signed, 989. And I work with the city of Fremont to have Caltrans relinquish a stretch of Highway 84 that runs basically from 880 down Thornton, Fremont Boulevard, and Peralta, all the way to Mission Boulevard. This will enable the city to create greater mobility for bicyclists and pedestrians, safer routes to schools, ADA curb ramps, and more efficient traffic signaling in this stretch of the state route that's now basically the city route. Along with transportation, one of the biggest issues we face is housing. Now, many Californians, about 25% of us in California, of our entire population, who are fortunate to have housing, reside in a community interest development governed by the homeowners association boards. These HOA boards have enormous power. They can fine you, they can sue you, they can foreclose on your home. Now, many of them are governed by responsible owners who are volunteering to keep their communities looking in tip-top shape. However, there are some HOAs that are run by people that ignore these rules and keep themselves in power, and they're more interested in silencing anybody who disagrees with them or disagrees with their plans. That's why I authored Senate Bill 1265. Now, some people are calling it an HOA Bill of Rights, but basically it protects HOA residents who number in the millions by restoring some integrity to the HOA voting process. You know, the governor has yet to sign this, so we're hopeful that he'll do that. In the depth of the housing crisis requires every community to do its fair share to contribute to the affordable housing. One of the technical bills that we did, there's a big loophole that exists, however, for the 120 charter cities in California. Now, they can secure approval of their city's housing element, and then turn around and approve a specific plan that eliminates the lower income housing. And this was a court ruling that came out last year that said charter cities have the right to do that. So I work with the Cal Affordable Housing Advocates, and Senate Bill 1333 says, no, all the cities are going to follow the same law. There is no more exemption when it comes to affordable housing crisis, and this bill is waiting for the governor's signature. You're welcome. Now, imagine if we had a way to create more affordable housing in our communities to allow teachers, grandparents, college students, and working class people to live in the Bay Area without requiring millions of dollars in development subsidies. We could do so many, we could provide so many people with a roof over their head. Well, of course, there is a way by allowing homeowners to build accessory dwelling units. Now, 3 years ago, I worked with a large coalition of affordable housing advocates, the Bay Area Council, AARP, small and large businesses, and planners, architects, and academics. And we created a buzz. There is a buzz about ADUs. And we didn't call them ADUs, we called them second units and granny flats. So people know about it, but they really don't know what they can do. So the last 2 years, we passed the bills, and the results are outstanding. ADU permits applications increased 63% in the state of California. And in some jurisdictions, that number is well over 300%. Cities like Fremont, San Jose, San Francisco, and Los Angeles are increasing opportunities for their residents to build ADUs by reducing burdensome requirements and lowering or eliminating fees. I've spoken at ADU workshops in Santa Barbara, San Diego, and around the South Bay in front of government, business, and homeowners who are interested in increasing ADUs. So this year I introduced SB 831, which would eliminate excessive fees, provide for an amnesty program for unpermitted units that exist, that we all know somebody who bootlegs something down the street, and get them in compliance, and also to increase the state housing and community development's oversight for local ordinances. Now, just in the greater Los Angeles area alone, there are an estimated 300,000 unpermitted units. These are units that are unaccounted for by fire departments, water, and sewer districts. Eliminating exorbitant impact fees will ensure the safe construction of ADUs and allow these units to be legally recognized, and if necessary, brought up to code. We need to be smart about this. For 3 years, my office has received dozens of calls, hundreds of calls, I should say. Just last week, we received a call from Temple City, which is down south, and also a constituent in the 10th Senate District, whose city is charging thousands of dollars in impact fees in order for them to build their ADU. But this summer, the bill died on in the Assembly. Now, I am doubling down on my enthusiasm for ADUs, and will continue to advocate to encourage homeowners to build these units and help and let them provide for some of the housing opportunities that we need in the community. We will persevere, we will win, and we will build more ADUs in the state of California. Now, on the local front, my district staff and I continue to work with individuals to solve problems people are experiencing with state agencies, and to partner with local and public-private organizations. This is my state of the state. Everybody, it's all hands on deck. I have my staff. It's Derek Chernal. I've got that nice tan suit on over there. He's my chief of staff from Sacramento. Heather Reciteris is also down from Sacramento. She's my ledge director. Jeff Barboza, my press guy, and Tammy Zancanella is also down from Sacramento. You've met Rocky, my district director. Miriam Brosnan, she just got married, so she changed her name, that was the deal. Andre Waramacapenlak, he hyphenated his name, they're just trying to make it tough for me. Sean Manalo walked in, and Tim Orozco. So that's my staff. I continue to have face-to-face conversation with local business owners about their enterprises, the products they are manufacturing, and the services they are providing. I tour companies in all the cities in the 10th Senate District on a routine basis and enjoy the dialogue that I have with this group. Our region is booming, and we want to keep the growth and the energy going. I hold several local events with chamber and business organizations such as the Yelp workshop to help small business owners understand that people don't use the yellow pages anymore. They're on Yelp. That thing. Help their companies respond to customer feedback. Whether it's financial planning forums, workshops to receive state GoBiz funds, or partnering with my assembly colleagues Bill Quirk or Canson Shu on the senior scam stoppers, these events provide information that's beneficial and helpful for those who are in attendance. Recognizing that our region is made stronger and more vibrant by the people who give of themselves and help others, we constantly honor these community leaders through a number of my leadership award ceremonies. In fact, on Thursday, October 11th, from 3 to 5, just over at the Castro Valley Library, I'll be holding my Latino Heritage Leadership Awards. And I hope some of you can come and help us honor some great people in the Latino Heritage group. This year, I collaborated with a number in our community for community cleanup, parades, opening of new fields, honoring veterans, and celebrating anniversaries. My friends, we face many enduring challenges that are not going to be solved immediately, but I'm heartened by the leadership I see every day in the 10th Senate District region. It's an easy district to represent, as Ellen Corbett will say. It sort of runs itself, right? I know we have many talented people in and out of government service who give so much of their time to make a difference in the place that we all call home. I'm grateful for the opportunity to work alongside all of you to represent this innovative district in our state capital. I want to thank you for your support that you've given me through the years, and I'm energized and I look forward to building on these achievements in the next session in the state legislature and the next 4 more years. With that, let's get on with the program.